Alright, hey there guys, Adrian Casa here, aka JediBro95, coming at you guys with another video. In this video is going to be part 2 of the 2-part NBA discussion series, NBA discussion idea. Ooh, nice snatch block, AD. But it's going to be a part 2 of the NBA discussion videos. And this one is going to be product changes for the NBA that I want to see in 2021 and beyond. Now, they did add in the play-in tournament, and I think that was really good. Well, actually, I said I was indifferent to it, and I still stand by it. I'm indifferent. I really don't care for it, because at the end of the day, like, you're making the second round. You're playing a play-in tournament just to get knocked out in the first round. Yeah, congrats. Moving on. Anyways, so the first product change I want to see in 2021 and beyond is I want to see an NBA Ice one-on-one tournament. Now, a lot of people have talked about this as a thing that they should add for All-Star Weekend, and I 100% agree. If you look at the All-Star game, there is the All-Star events, there's basically something for everybody. There's three-point contest, there's the dunk contest, there is the sophomore and rookies game, or the USA versus the world now in this case. And then there's the main festivities. But the one thing we don't really have is the... Okay, AD got 2 consecutive snatch blocks. What the heck? Anyways, so the one thing we don't have is a one-on-one tournament. You know, I think guys like Damian Lillard, Stephen Curry, CJ McCollum, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, you know, a lot of these great ball handling players that can create offense off the dribble. I think this would be so interesting to watch, and a lot of cool things could happen in that tournament. So I think that would be pretty sweet to implement into the NBA All-Star Weekend. I don't think they will because, well, right now there is no All-Star Weekend this year. They've decided to cut the All-Star Weekend in the favor of just giving a week off, a rest, I think is what it was, instead of... I think they're cutting All-Star Weekend this year, and they're moving it for like a couple of years from now, which I don't know how the fuck that's gonna work. Like, so what if, like, say for example LeBron retires in 3 years, like, you're gonna have him play in the 2021 All-Star game in 2024. It's a little weird. I don't get it, but, you know, I'm not claiming to understand. I'm just sitting here rolling with the punches. The next thing I want to see, gentlemen, is the removal of conferences. I know a lot of people have requested this for a long time, and I think it is time to abolish conferences. You could keep divisions. Don't get me wrong, you can keep the divisions in. Like, obviously that would be pretty great for scheduling purposes. But I think it is time to abolish conferences because at this point it is completely clear that the Western Conference is better than the Eastern Conference. And I think a lot of these players and teams that are in the Western Conference are getting snubbed from the postseason just because they are in the West. Take, for example, the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns, even though they barely missed out on the play-in game, they had a legit argument to be a playoff team in the Eastern Conference just because, the East is just not that great. But because the fact that they are playing in the East, they're going to miss out on the playoffs consecutively. And I don't think that's really fair to guys like Devin Booker, even though I'm not very high on Devin Booker, and I completely think he is one of the more overrated players in the league. But, that's neither here nor there. But I do think that he definitely is missing out on postseason experience because of the fact that he's just in the West. Meanwhile, at the same time, you've got teams like, say, the Orlando Magic. And don't get me wrong, the Magic are a good team. I'm not shitting on them by any means. But I feel like the only reason that they are a playoff team is because they are in the Eastern Conference. If they were in the West, or there was no conferences and everybody played everybody in the conferences just throughout the season, I think it would be... I think they wouldn't even make the playoffs. Now, I know scheduling purposes might be a bit of a problem, to which I say, just keep the schedule the same as it is. Just keep scheduling Western Conference teams against Western Conference teams 3 to 4 times a year, especially in your division, and then play the Eastern teams once or twice. Or twice, actually. One in each arena. Just keep the scheduling the same. Just seed the playoffs 1 through 16. It's honestly that simple. Just get rid of the conferences, do 1 through 16 seeding, and the play-in tournament if you really want to. I don't really care for it. So, yeah, I think this is something that needs to be. I think that this is something that should be implemented. Hopefully soon. Hopefully they can do it in 2021, if not soon. The next thing I want to see implemented into the NBA is new teams. I think it's time to shake things up and bring back a couple of new teams. Seattle has been heavily rumored to get a team in the last few years, and I think it is time to bring Seattle back a NBA team. Just because, the market there for Seattle, it's really impressive when you consider the fact that they haven't had they're not a basketball state anymore, of a basketball place anymore. A lot of that area is just overrun by the Seattle Seahawks. Whoop, whoop. But at the same time, though, I just feel like it is time to bring a team back to the Pacific Northwest. Also, I think Canada could use the Vancouver Grizzlies back. I know the Grizzlies are in Memphis now, so I think just make up a new team or have the Memphis Grizzlies change their name to, I don't know, the Memphis Goldfish. I don't fucking know. Just create something. You did it with the goddamn Pelicans and Hornets. Just create a new name for the Grizzlies. Give Vancouver the Grizzlies back and just be done with it. I think it's time for some new teams. Get more blood in the NBA. Get more blood in the NBA play, in the NBA teams, or even just places like Baltimore. Baltimore could use a team. I think they're in the East, and I think Maryland's in the East. I think they could definitely go for a NBA team. I think Toronto has a team, but I also think you could put a team in a big market. For example, I think Winnipeg could use a team, put them in the Eastern Conference. There's a few places that I think, even outside of those two, could definitely use a team in the NBA, or even just another sports team in general. That Kansas City could also use a basketball team. They're predominantly a football state. So, I don't know. I'm just spitballing cities out there right now. I don't know if they would actually think about putting those cities in for a basketball team, but this is just something that I've just been thinking about for a little bit, and I think it is time to put new teams in the NBA lifespan. The next product idea I wish for the NBA to implement into 2021 and hopefully beyond is the abolishment of positions in the All-Star game. Just organize the All-Star game by player popularity. Don't put in positions. Don't put guards forwards and forwards. I think just do positions. Just do positionless. Positionless voting. There we go. Don't get me wrong. You could keep your team captains. You can keep your stupid fucking, schoolyard pickup. Pick player A over player B bullshit. You can keep that if you want. But I think, go positionless NBA All-Star voting, because in an era where positions are starting to dwindle every year that passes, and they're starting to not be as important as prior years, I think it is time to go in a direction steer in that trend and go positionless voting. Speaking of positionless, the next thing that I want to speak on that I think should be a thing in 2021 and beyond is there needs to be positionless All-NBA and All-Defensive voting. Now, I know a lot of people want to say that it kind of fucks up incentives and shit like that, but personally, I think it fucks up incentives more for the other star players that are getting screwed over. Take, for example, guys like DeAndre Jordan. Trust me, don't get me wrong, I like DeAndre Jordan. He's one of the better rim protectors of his era. In his heyday, he was one of the best centers. He was one of the best rebounders in his heyday. That's not the problem I have with DeAndre Jordan. The problem I have with DeAndre Jordan is the fact that he made All-NBA defensive teams and he made third-team All-NBA selection. Not because he was one of the top 15-ish players in the league, I don't fucking know, but because he was a center, and the NBA needed to fill out the position with a center. for the All-NBA team. And if you're going to really capture the presence of the era or the dominance of certain players in the era, I think you need to get rid of the positionless trend. Take, for example, guys like Klay Thompson. Okay, Klay Thompson, in my opinion, he could be an All-NBA defensive player as well. He could be on the third team All-Defensive team if you want. If they were to implement that, which is another small thing that I think they should implement, is a third All-Defensive team. Why are there 3 All-NBA teams but not 3 All-Defensive teams? I don't understand that. Personally, that's just me. But take, for example, for All-NBA teams, take, for example, somebody like, just in the guard position alone. Or like Mike Conley, for example. Mike Conley, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated guards of the 2010s. Not because he was, bad, and not because he was, just overlooked, but because of the fact that he never really received the recognition that he rightfully deserved in his heyday. Because Mike Conley was a consistent 18 to 20 point scorer while giving you about 6 assists a game, and was giving you all NBA caliber defensive qualities at the point guard position. But because guys like Stephen Curry, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and even John Wall in some years, and Damian Lillard, just because they were all better than him, unfortunately, he never did get an All-NBA guard position on his... He never did get an All-NBA selection on his resume, or if he did, it was like a third or second team. And that doesn't really truly impact how great certain players are, because take, for example, somebody like Rudy Gobert. Again, Rudy Gobert just signed a huge max contract with the Supermax contract with the Utah Jazz. And trust me, he's a fantastic rim protecting center, and one could make a legit argument that he is possibly the best rim protecting center since Ben Wallace. Honestly, I would make the argument that he's the best rim protector since Ben Wallace, and he's one of the most impactful centers on the defensive end since him. But he, in my opinion, there's no way anybody could make a legit argument, to me anyways, that he's in the same conversation for All-NBA teams. Like, for example, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Giannis, Anthony Davis, LeBron. These are just some other players, but even if you want to exclude the obvious, I would argue guys like Donovan Mitchell should be on the All-NBA team. Pascal Siakam should have been on the All-NBA team, but should be on the All-NBA ballots before Rudy Gobert. Trae Young. Kyle Lowry even. Bradley Beal. These are a lot of players that I think should be on the All-NBA ballots before Rudy Gobert. And if you're going to really capture how great the era in question is of the era we're in right now, because in this era, perimeter players rule, okay? The perimeter players are the more dominant players in the NBA. It's completely obvious. So why not reflect that and capture that in certain eras, with the positionless All-NBA teams? Take, for example, again, the 1990s. The 1990s were ruled by bigs, okay? But guys like Alonzo Mourning, who was I think is one of the more underrated players to ever play in the NBA. Guys like Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo, they were not receiving All-NBA selections just because they were centers. And guys like Shaquille O'Neal, David Robinson, and Hakeem Olajuwon were better players. So, again, you see the argument I'm trying to make. Like, they need to get rid of All-NBA, an all-defensive team positions. They need to get rid of positioning in All-NBA and all-defensive teams. But that is some of the product changes that I would recommend for the NBA to give a shot to. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with my suggestions. And let me know if you think you have any other product suggestions that the NBA should give a shot to. But with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next video.